You say you want to be a man of the people? Go be the man of the people. That's what Milei did. That's what others did. Locked up behind camera just talking to Jordan Peterson and mainstream type of people. This is 2025. A 78-year-old man did laps around you.
Heyo, and welcome to today, where there are a lot of things that we're going to talk about. First and foremost, it is most obvious that a lot of politicians are not getting a lot of love nowadays. But that is kind of justified with how a lot of things are going in Canada. But there's just a lot going on today between Trudeau, Mark Carney, and we got Pierre Poilievre also on that list of people who are just getting a lot of flack from people today. And so we're gonna cover all those things. Let us dive right in, you know?
On a personal level, I've made sure that every single day in this office, I put Canadians first. That I have people's backs. And that's why I'm here to tell you all that we got you. Even in the very last days of this government, we will not let Canadians down today and long into the future.
A lot of people are bringing up the fact as to how he is a actor. And well, that is quite obvious as to what is happening here with him giving all the waterworks falling down his face. It's just a bunch of acting. And a lot of people have been calling out that he is, his ledger is not exactly clear of being behind all Canadians. You know, seeing as the homelessness has skyrocketed, seeing as the food bank usage has skyrocketed, seeing as the homelessness has skyrocketed, seeing as how he has been himself in many scandals that have included Canadians being at the helm of the dismay of his scandal. So clearly, it is not in fact Canadians that he most cares about, and a lot of people are just lambasting him for this recent clip from CTV News about him talking about this, and for good reason. See, once again, me talking about him being in many scandals. You know, his ledger is not clear of any of that. And now, we shall get into, now granted, I'm just gonna say, this is a little bit skewed, because it's Pierre Poilievre calling out Mark Carney, not exactly the public. However, there are, you know, in the comments of this, there are obviously the public, so, you know, including this anywho, but he makes a video calling out Mark Carney. Let's check that out real quick.
I think, Mr. Carney's a very sneaky guy. He has been Trudeau's economic advisor for the last 5 years. And what has been the result? Housing costs have doubled. Lineups at food banks have doubled. The national debt has doubled. He has helped Justin Trudeau impose the carbon tax and pushed for that tax to go up even more. And now he plans a real sneaky trick. He's going to hide the carbon tax for 2 months right before the election so that it will not appear at the gas station. But after the election's over, he'll bring in a much bigger carbon tax. That's why the people keep calling him Carbon Tax Carney. And so if you want a change from the disastrous Trudeau, Carney, Liberal policies of the last 10 years, you have to elect common sense conservatives who will axe the taxes for everyone for good, who will slash bureaucracy, consultants, corporate welfare, foreign aid to bring down debt, taxes, and inflation.
Now he just goes on and on and on. And, you know, I mean, it's all good that he talks about all that stuff, but that's not important to what I want to talk about today, so we're going to cut him off there. Anywho, now, somebody in the comments actually makes a interesting point that I just saw, and I was like, you know what, that'd be kind of interesting to have you guys see. Person who goes by The Remanded, I think I said that right. Apparently, the court decisions for the proroguing of government is set to be announced today. Curious, if deemed, will we see a Supreme Court of Canada appeal? Fun times. I don't know what that would all do in the end, but that is interesting to see, interesting to think of, or interestingly to put, fun times. I don't think they're actually fun, but you know, we'll see what happens. Now, interestingly enough, this is I'm including this comment because it is in connection to what is going to be seen next, and it is a person who goes by Unapologetic Conservative. They say, Pierre, Canadians are talking about Trump and tariffs, the trade, and they are renegotiating security and trade deals with the premiers and Trudeau instead of you. What you're talking about isn't relevant at all if they don't call an election again. And he does bring up a good point. If they don't call the election, it's kind of, at this current stage in time, kind of unimportant as to what he is exactly talking about going against Mark Carney. However, I will state that with a potential election coming up, it is important that he talks about this stuff. It is always going to be important that he talks about this stuff so that Canadians are always brought to the loop as to, yeah, this guy is not on our side. Mark Carney is not on our side, even though, no, he's like, he'll say, oh, I'm here for Canadians and yada yada, so such and stuff and all that. And he even confirms he's an elitist, so it is good that Pierre is calling out Mark Carney here. However, the Unapologetic Canadian, or Conservative, Freudian slip, I think is the right term for that, brings out the good point as to how it is not exactly pertinent to keep on talking about Mark Carney when the tariffs are the thing that is most noteworthy in Canada right now for Canadians. Which now comes the dissing from the people to Pierre Poilievre. Although that Unapologetic Conservative was also a part of the dissing, it was in connection to this video that I saw that I decided, you know what? I think it'd be pretty interesting to cover this video because there are a lot of points I did agree with, a lot of points I disagree with, and then there are people down below who are actually dissing with this as well in totality for a different reason that I didn't really know. I'm gonna be real, but let us check this out.
Who, as a world leader, has a year resume than him and a worse approval rating? The fact that people are done with him. Mm-hmm. And even with that, Pierre Poilievre couldn't beat him.
That's what's the sad part.
Well, you know why it's not sad? Because every time we invited Pierre, arrogant, pompous team, the only podcast he ever did is Jordan Peterson. So let me get this straight. You saw Millet win because he went everywhere. You saw Bukele win, he went everywhere. You saw Trump win because he went everywhere. You saw Bobby win because he went everywhere. You saw Vivek become a superstar because he went everywhere. And you don't? You deserve losing.
Okay, I'm just gonna point this out because I think it is rather interesting. This is obviously an American show. They're called Valuetainment or something. I've never watched them. I hear clips of them and so on and so forth. Never actually really seen them. Anywho, what I want to bring up is how it just sounds like he is salty. I'm just stating that. It just sounds like he's really salty that Pierre hasn't went on his show in particular, but he's went on Jordan Peterson. Man, his name all of a sudden it just escaped my brain. But it just sounds like he is salty. Gonna state that first and foremost. And also, I don't know if he actually knows what is going on or not, because he says he lost. He says that Pierre Poilievre lost, even though we haven't had an election yet, and the polls are showing directly against that. So, just blowing a lot of smoke. Just blowing a lot of smoke there, and just a whole lot of nothing. However, to go past the saltiness and to get past the unintelligent "he lost" comment, he does bring up a good point in that Pierre Poilievre doesn't exactly do a lot of podcasts. He doesn't talk to a lot of people. And I'll dive into that a little bit later, because there's a little bit more of an interesting thing I would like to just slightly discuss.
I watched him give messages. I'm like, what a great message. Get your in front of cameras. Didn't want to do it. Go talk to people. Pierre Poilievre campaigned the same exact way as Kamala Harris did. When it comes down to campaigning, not policies, he is Kamala Harris. Pierre, your hero that you guys wanted, does not want to work. I hope Canadians see this and send it around and blast him and encourage him to go talk to the biggest podcast in Canada. He's not too good for podcasts in Canada.
Okay. There's a lot of things I disagree with what he said in that whole entire spiel, saying he's like Kamala Harris in campaigning, but not on policy. Like, really? Really? Kamala Harris didn't campaign because nobody would trust her to campaign, because she couldn't speak properly. Pierre is going out and talking to news shows that, I mean, politically speaking, CTV News or CP24, that are not politically aligned with Pierre Poilievre. So, he is talking to opposition. I don't see what he says there, but to go into the thing I really wanted to say, tell me down below if you know this. I will keep it completely a stack. I have no idea who the top podcast is in Canada. I have no idea. I have absolutely zero clue. The only guess I might have is Jordan Peterson. That is literally my only guess. I guess maybe, no, I'm not going to say his name because I don't think I should. But, like, in terms of Canadian podcasters, I think he is the biggest one, but that is also because I don't know who the biggest one is. I don't know.
You say you want to be a man of the people? Go be the man of the people. That's what Milei did. That's what others did. Locked up behind camera just talking to Jordan Peterson and mainstream type of people. This is 2025. A 78-year-old man did laps around you.
You know, here's the thing. There are a lot of things you can critique Pierre Poilievre for. I've seen them. I don't talk about them because it's not exactly pertinent to what I want to bring light to, but there are things you can critique him for. Pierre does talk to the people. He does rallies. He does a lot of rallies. I don't think as many as Trump has done, but he is doing rallies. He has done that. So the comment is just coming out of nowhere. Absolutely nowhere. The valid thing that he says is that Pierre isn't going out and talking to many podcasts. I agree with that. He should probably do more, because that is where the general populace of people are typically going to be at. You know, he should go and put himself in front of the people and talk and have discussions. He should be doing that. I agree with him there. But a lot of what he said is just, it sounds like a keyboard warrior who is just salty that he didn't get an interview with Pierre Poilievre. That is the thing that is most peaking in my brain. Now, although of the critique that happens here, there are some people who, in the comments down below, they point out a very interesting and very poignant part of this entire thing. Once again, after the last episode's guest, no serious person should ever be on his show. And then the main poster, Kirk Lobimov, said, he lost me with platforming Tate as well. So, here's the thing. I agree with the critique that Pierre should be going out and talking with more people. However, on terms of optics, I can absolutely see why Pierre would never get on the show with Valuetainment. I can totally see it. If they're out here platforming a dude who is quite universally not liked, to curtail my words here, I can absolutely see why he would totally turn down a show like this from these people. I can absolutely see it. It wouldn't be good for his optics. And once again, this just drives home once again that point of he just sounds salty. Now we're gonna head off after me talking about all this drivel and going on and all that. We're just gonna relax and talk about perhaps something else tomorrow. But anywho, I hope to see you in the next video. But until then, I hope that you have a good one.